see a lot of agents screw this one up. All they want to focus on is just listed or just sold or pictures of their clients with them holding a sold sign. And then you see lenders who are talking about funded fast or closed in 21 days. And all of those things are relevant. I'm not saying you can't do those. But what they're not gonna do is they're never gonna elicit an emotional response that's gonna have them reach out to you and say, hey, I wanna work with you. So your ability to tap into their pain is gonna be crucial. Their pain is your purpose. And the moment that you see that your responsibility as a real estate agent is to help them move from their pain to their pleasure, and you can see that, you no longer are a real estate agent. You become a lifelong friend of them. Welcome back to the Be the Standard podcast, where if you're a real estate agent or you're a mortgage lender, I'm gonna teach you how to build a $250,000 a year real estate business. There's no reason that if you sell homes or you fund loans, you shouldn't be making $250,000 a year without having to sacrifice your personal life, without having to sell your soul, without having to live in the hustle culture that is only a way to burn out. I'm gonna teach you how to do it. My name's Sergio, and I was in the top 1% of 1% of real estate agents for many years in a row. I didn't have a sales background. And so this entire podcast, well, this episode and every episode after this is gonna be about the same things. How to sell, how to market, how to lead, and the mindset required to do all of them. Today specifically though, we're gonna talk about marketing. Because marketing is one of the biggest things that I see most agents fuck up. And I know they are because, well, I messed up quite a bit too. I posted for 2 years on social media and I didn't get a single chirp, not a single lead. And it wasn't until after about 24 months of consistently beating the same drum and putting out content that I started to actually get an influx of leads, which then led to me creating almost $225,000 in gross commissions in 1 year. Now, I share all of this with you because there's a lot of things that are currently impacting the real estate market that are going to conversely have a big impact on you and the way that you run your business and the way that you show up in your life. Now, these NAR settlements that are happening, they're going to impact the real estate industry. To what level, I'm not sure. You have the doom and gloom saying that people are never going to get paid. The reality is nobody fucking works for free. And then you have the other side where there are these really optimistic real estate agents who are completely delusional, saying nothing's going to change. And the reality is we're going to land somewhere there in the middle. But I want you to kind of take the strategy that I learned in the military, that hope isn't a strategy. And your ability to prepare for whatever comes your way is going to be dependent on your ability to adapt. You see, the market is going to change. To what extent, we don't know, but let's just play it out that you're going to either have to do one of two things. You're going to have to become unreal at negotiating your commissions. Or number two, which is more likely, is that there's going to be commission compression, meaning commissions are going to go down, which means you're going to have to increase the number of people that you work with. Now, for many real estate agents, they lean heavily on face-to-face, one-to-one interactions through open houses, training events, networking events, coffees, lunches, phone calls. And I'm not saying to not do these things, but I want you to take that sales hat off for a moment and I want you to step into this Heather game of marketing. Like, you can't reach multiple hundreds of people in a day when it comes to sales. Yeah, you could smile and dial all day long, but you're going to get to a point where eventually you're trying to slam your iPhone because you're getting so frustrated with the people and the way that they show up on the other side. Now, sales is part of the game and you got to have that avenue, but the other piece for you to really create leverage is by leaning heavily into your own personal brand and into marketing. And I see a lot of agents screw this one up. All they want to focus on is just listeds or just solds, or pictures of their clients with them holding a sold sign. Cha-chink. And I've done all of those things. And then you see lenders who are talking about funded fast or closed in 21 days. And all of those things are relevant. I'm not saying you can't do those. They create great top of mind awareness and they're gonna allow your clients to know that you're in the game and that you're a player. But what they're not gonna do is they're never gonna elicit an emotional response that's gonna have them reach out to you and say, hey, I wanna work with you. And that's kind of the goal of marketing. If you think of one of your favorite brands, there was an emotional response that you felt whenever you saw some of their marketing. Maybe it made you feel happy. Maybe it made you feel connected. Maybe it made you emotional. Started to get emotional when I became a dad. All of a sudden, I started crying at different commercials. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I started to have a softer spot in my heart. Or as I like to think of it, my heart grew like the Grinch. Either way, when I start to see these commercials where they're marketing, I can feel myself becoming attracted to the brand. One of the biggest ones that I saw was on about an iPhone. And if you're watching this on an iPhone, then you've probably seen this commercial. It was a commercial where a family was in a car crash, and iPhone was talking about their new crash feature, where if you got hit or you fell or something were to happen, it would notify either the people in your phone book that you listed on there, and it would also notify paramedics, which could help save your life. What was beautiful about that ad is you got to see a real life accident happen. I don't know if it was real life, I'm sure it was actors. And then what happened when the iPhone's technology and their software was able to step in and actually prevent people from dying or from people getting even more severely injured. It built an emotional connection. And so you have to understand that when people see a just listed or a just sold, while that's marketing the homes, they're never going to be like, ooh, I better call so-and-so so they can help me have one of those. All they're seeing is like you just talking about what you did. It'd be like if an accountant showed their spreadsheets. It's like, nice, man, that's amazing. It doesn't mean anything to me. So we have to get to a place where you're marketing. When you're putting things out, it's actually attracting people. I talked about how sales is an important part of this. But the word that I want to replace with sales is seduction. We live in a day and age where everybody is being sold all the time. If you look through Instagram or if you're on Facebook or TikTok, or you're even on YouTube, there's somebody constantly making a pitch. Just like I'm going to make a pitch at the end of this thing for you to start to talk to me about coaching. I share that with you because I want you to be prepared for it. But we're always being sold. And the reason we're being sold is because everybody's trying to get a slice of the pie. That's going to create a lot of noise in the industry. And so when you just have these stagnant photos or these things that never actually break the barrier of their emotional soul, well, how are you going to connect with them? I'm willing to bet, is what I meant to say, that the content you put out gets more likes and more engagement from other real estate agents or other lenders. Hell, I mean, your parents or your significant other might like it too. But the reality is those aren't the people that you're trying to attract. And the more that you do this, the more you're going to get frustrated. And the more that you put out this type of content, the more noise you're going to be. And when you're just noise in a marketplace and nobody can hear you, you have to ask yourself, what is it actually serving at that point? Do you become a deterrent to the people that actually want to work with you? Or is that actually supporting what you're trying to do? The way I look at these just listed, just sold, and under contracts, and just funded, or these pictures that you want to share, is it's just, you pepper those things in there. Yeah, they're important. Yes, they're going to show you, your clients, that you're a part of the game, but they're not going to get them to move. What I want you to do is start to focus on one simple thing. What are the problems that your clients are going through? When you think about a home buyer, the stress that they experience when it comes time to get pre-approved, when times come time to go out and shop for a home, when they write a contract and now they're having to pony up their money and now it's becoming real, or they go through the inspection or the appraisal, or even at closing. There's multiple places in this game where buyers are just terrified. And your ability to speak to the pain that they're experiencing. Maybe it's an affordability thing. Maybe maybe they don't even know if they could qualify for a home. There's a lot of fears that these clients experience. Maybe they're terrified of real estate agents because they've only heard horror stories about all the dumb fuck agents out there who take advantage of other clients because they're just chasing a commission check. Now, if you're on here, that's not you. You already know that. But what I want you to understand is that these people have pain points. No different than a seller. Sellers are stressed out like crazy. They have to get their home ready, then they have to put it on the market. Then there's a waiting game. Then they have all these people and all these strangers come through. Then there's this open house where there's even more people in there. Then they're hoping that they priced it well, that it showed well, that they marketed it well, that somebody fell in love with it and they were going to write an offer. Then the entire time they're under contract, they're afraid. They're afraid that the buyer's going to terminate. They're afraid that the home that they want to go get's going to be gone. There is a lot of pain and there's a lot of fear. And what will set you apart is this. Can you speak into that pain and describe that pain better than the clients can themselves? Because from that place, what you're going to notice is that your clients, your prospective clients that are on the other side of the camera, that are watching this, no different than the way that you're watching this or listening to it, are on that side being like, damn, she gets me. She's describing my problems better than I could describe them myself. How does she get it? How does she know? And the moment that you start to get them to relate to you, the way that you talk, the way that you describe it, the way that you can really get into their mind and into their soul about the pain that they're feeling, that's when you start to build the connection. Now, there's a whole way that you get to structure this with a hook and a problem and a possibility, how they need to believe, and a path on how to pitch, and we can talk about that in more detail. But the very first step of all of this is simply your ability to speak into somebody's pain. There's so many agents out there that always want to talk about the good shit. Oh, now's a great time to buy a home. Marry the house, date the rate. Interest rates are variable. They'll come down. 2-1 buy downs. But what they don't want to do is talk about the shit that's actually real. Hey, listen, interest rates are 8%. And if you're trying to qualify for a home, this is what you could probably afford based on your down payment, your income, your credit. People need truth. The world is filled with a bunch of people who are liars. And all people want is somebody that they know that they can trust. The game of somebody knowing you, liking you, and trusting you, that's rookie stuff. The clients that you are going to be attracting when you simply just start to speak into their pain and their fear will love you. And there's going to be a whole other group that fucking hate you, and that's okay. It's kind of the point of marketing is you want to repel the people that aren't your people. But the people who want to work with you, you want to make them fall in love with you. Which is why your marketing is big into just speaking, isn't just about speaking into their pain. It's about you speaking into their pain and then showing them what is the possibility of if you were to pull this off. Hey, listen, I understand that buying a home is terrifying. But I want to tell you a quick story about Sergio. I helped Sergio buy his very first home. And this is Sergio's story. And now you go into the storytelling about Sergio and how he bought his very first home. And then how, 3 months later, after going through this entire process, how he was able to get his very first home. And your ability to showcase this path from point A to point B and paint this picture allows the client on the other side to relate to the problem and relate to the journey, which then has them thinking, well, if Sergio can do it, I can do it. And then they're going to look and be like, well, they helped Sergio. I bet you they could help me too. And now you've taken a person who was never going to be moved by your just solds or your just listeds to a place with a person who has like an emotional pull to you. Now, the other piece of marketing that you have to really think about is you. You are the marketing. You could speak the perfect message. You could have the perfect video. You could put out the perfect reel or podcast. But if your energy's all fucked up, nobody's going to buy into it. So the big piece of all of this is like the way that you show up in your marketing. If you don't work, it won't work. Because on the other side, this energy has to come through the camera. They have to feel it. And so if you're sitting here talking like this, you should buy a home because like homes create, equity. They're going to fall asleep. I mean, shit, I almost just fell asleep. But if you can speak to them the way that you would speak with intensity, with connection, with a fierceness, not yelling, not being aggressive, but being attentive and being focused, looking into the lens and into their soul through the camera, what they're going to see on the other side is a version of you that they're like, I know that girl. I know that guy would take care of me. The certainty and the confidence that they have, I feel safe. I feel secure with them. Which means you have to be able to deliver certainty and confidence through the camera about whoever it is that you're going to help. Which is why the storytelling is critical. You leaning back on previous client stories or stories that you've heard in your office about other people who have gone through it gives you leverage. It gives you leverage because it gives you credibility. And when you have credibility and you combine this with certainty and you mix it up and you send it through the camera, well, what comes out is a comfort level and a knowing that the client is like, I got to go talk to this person. But if you're all out of whack, if your energy's off, if something's going wrong at home, or you don't feel confident with the way you look, or maybe you're just off that day. It doesn't mean you can't get in alignment and shoot the video. But what it does mean is that if it comes across wrong, it will repel even the clients that you're trying to attract. Now, there is a principle that you have to really adopt here. And if you can't adopt this principle, then none of this is going to work. And the principle is this: their pain is your purpose. I want to say that again. Their pain is your purpose. Their pain that they're going through, these clients, it is your purpose to help them get through this pain and to the other side, to move away from the pain and to the pleasure. And so the moment that you can start to connect with this pain, one, it's going to help you build empathy with your clients. And in a business that's 100% relational, the more that you can connect with your clients on a deeper level, not only are you going to build a relationship with them, they're going to become clients for life. And then on top of that, they're going to be your raving fans. They'll turn into your word of mouth marketing team. They'll send you more referrals than you can imagine. But if you never are willing to step into the arena and feel their pain and talk about their pain, well, then you're going to struggle to build these long-term connections. I learned this in the military. Some of the relationships that I have in my life, some of the best relationships I had in my life were either built through basic training, or they were built through survival training, or they were built on my deployment. Why? Going through hard shit with people bonds you. Misery loves company. But at the same time, like going through something hard with somebody allows you to connect with them on a deep level. It's why me and my coaching members, the ones that we work with, like we become very close. I see what's going on in their lives and their families and how their business is impacting that either positively or negatively. I see what's going on with their own beliefs and their body and how that's impacting them. I see the ups and downs of their business when they're on the highest of highs and things are just clicking and things are moving and they're bringing home $300,000 a month. And then I see the other side where they struggle to make paycheck to paycheck and we're just trying to stay in the game long enough so that they can turn the ship and get back into the game. So your ability to tap into their pain is going to be crucial. Their pain is your purpose. And the moment that you see that your responsibility as a real estate agent is to help them move from their pain to their pleasure, and you can see that, you no longer are a real estate agent. You become a lifelong friend of them. It's a beautiful place to be. But if you can't adopt that one simple principle, well, you're going to have a tough time. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. Here's like the practical application piece of this whole thing. If you have clients right now, I want you to listen to the problems that they have. If you have clients from the past, I want you to go back and I want you to think about the day that you met them. Where were they at? Were they tired of renting and their landlord just kicked them out? Did they just go through a divorce and you had to be able to manage that and kind of move them, along the path so that they could start their new lives? Did they just have a kid in their apartment and it felt like the walls were caving in? And if they didn't get out of there, they didn't feel like they were going to be able to show up as parents because they were going to be fighting constantly. And that if they didn't get a place that was larger, they weren't going to be able to show up as the mom and the dad that they wanted to be for their newborn kid. You see, when you can start to tap into the pain that your clients are currently experiencing, or the pain that your clients did experience, what that's going to give you is perspective. And with that perspective, what that's going to give you is marketing material. There's a process to kind of go through this, especially in your videos. And the last piece of this that I want to teach you, right, is you need to understand your video content and how you're going to structure it. When you get onto the video, obviously you're going to have a hook in the beginning. You're going to have to capture the attention of the viewer. That's critical. But the 4-part framework after that is simply this. You have to describe the problem in detail of what your client was going through. You have to be able to expand that problem. No different than I did talking about the client who just had a kid and the apartment was enclosing on them and you knew that the stress was going to be so high between them that they weren't going to be able to show up as the parents that they wanted. Like your ability to describe that pain in detail is important. You should spend about 80% of your time here in the video. The next 10% is simply just painting the possibility. But you don't paint the whole story. What you do is you paint the ending. You gap it. You go from the problem they were in to the possibility they achieved. Like I remember when I met my clients and I could tell that they were stressed. You ever sit down with somebody and you can just feel the tension between the two of them? You know it's there and they're putting on these fake smiles, but deep down, she wants to tell him to go fuck himself and he wants to look back and be like, shut up. But they have this newborn baby and they're trying to show up the best they can, but you can see that there's bags underneath their eyes. They both haven't eaten in days and they're just exhausted. And it was beautiful though, because 3 months later, when we helped them get into the home, not only could you see just a new version of themselves, they felt lighter, they felt happier, but the way that they were showing up for their new kid was completely different. So you see how I've painted the contrast between these two places, the problem and the possibility. Once you've done that, then you have to be able to establish the new belief system. This is what I call the principle. Once you can explain the principle of what they need to believe in order to get from here to here, and you give that to them, no different than I said that your pain, or their pain is your pleasure. Sorry, their pain is your purpose. Your ability to give them a new way of thinking is going to be critical. And so in this example of the parents who have the new kids who were in this apartment and they got this new home, what was the belief system that they had to internalize in order for that to change? And it was simply this: we have to be willing to let go of what we have to get what we want. You can make up whatever principle is impactful there. Another one could be the life we have is not working and we want to design the one that is working. You could give them a new belief system and then you paint the path. So you would wrap up the video and be like, listen, if you're in the same spot where you just had a kid and you know that your four walls are enclosing on you, here's what I want to offer you. Step one, I want you to click the link in my bio and I want you to book a time with me on my calendar so that we can talk. Step two, we'll make sure that we communicate before and I'll give you a little bit of homework. And then step three is we'll have our call. You're giving them a step-by-step path on what to pull off. So the 4 steps are: you're going to describe the problem, you're going to jump the gap and paint the possibility. Then you're going to give them a principle, a new way that they're going to have to think in order to pull this off. And then step 4, you're going to lay out the path. You're not going to give them everything, but you're going to give them the next steps. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow them to connect with you based on the story. It's going to allow them to really take this new principle, this new belief system, and start to run it through their minds about what it means to them. And then you're going to give them clear instructions on what to do next. In this game of real estate, where trading time for money means time away from your family, where open houses and live events and door knocking or phone calls is going to be trading time for money, you can only do so much of it. Doesn't mean you don't do any of it, but what I am saying is that in order for you to really build your business and to really increase your income, we have to get all 3 of these areas of your business and your life working. But it all starts with the first one, which is marketing. So this is going to be your homework. I want you to take the principle of problem, possibility, principle, and pitch. So here's your homework. I want you to take the following framework: problem, possibility, principle, and path. And I want you to create a video from that. Tag me in it. I want to see it. And then I will give you feedback on your video to help you improve the next one. Welcome to the Be the Standard podcast. If you're looking to take your real estate business or your lending business to $250,000 a year or more, all I can offer you is a conversation. I put together war rooms every single month where it's 6 individuals and we run as a small group. It's a 12-week course and we talk about marketing, sales, and leadership. We work on your business. We create detailed plans for your business where we use a weekly call to accelerate your path and accelerate your results. And it's all being in the proximity of other like-minded individuals who are trying to grow their business as well. So if you're interested in that, go to bethestandard.co and we will go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care.